Good.
Hi, Ken.
Yeah.
I just wanted to start off by asking you about, the video at the end of the game, your reaction. I think a lot of people who are close to sports and would understand the level of competitiveness and probably the frustration, but it kind of overboiled there a little bit. Just take us through that and maybe your reflection on it today.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And look, it was a intense game. It was a passionate game. I'm up in the box. I'm watching my guys down there just give us everything they possibly have in them with effort and from start to finish, playing 90 something snaps in a game. And, it was a playoff atmosphere. A lot of credit to the Miami Dolphins. And obviously we weren't on the winning end of it. So it's frustrating and, reacted that way. And obviously that's something that I'm definitely going to learn from. And, I don't ever want to take the passion out of the game. We're all in this to win football games obviously for the Bills, for our fans. And we're going to give them everything we got, but it's something I'm going to learn from and make sure, it's a correct move forward.
Just my only follow to that would be in terms of the game itself and how it unfolded, the number of opportunities that it would seem like, despite everything that this team was going through in terms of the injuries, in terms of the heat, that game was right there for the taking, and just a lack of finish on the offensive side is really what didn't allow that to happen.
Yeah, I think there were some opportunities there that we missed, and some of that or a lot of that is correctable. I think there's some things that we could do better all around from a coaching standpoint and an execution standpoint. And it's a great learning experience on a lot of different levels for us all. And we're excited to get back out and get back to work and really make sure that our focus is the Baltimore Ravens and get rolling on those guys.
Thank you, Ken.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, hi, Ken. I just wanted to ask you, how did you feel about your offensive line's performance? You didn't have everybody up there throughout the game. You had people filtering in and out, but how did you feel about the offensive line despite the challenges that you endured throughout the game?
I'm so proud of those guys. I mean, the way they battled, just the nature of the game for a group like that, having to play 90 plays, plus plays in a game. And guys like Dion and Roger playing every single snap of that game, and having 17 play drives, 20 play drives, and staying out there and doing it and giving each guy next to them everything they've got, and they battled that entire game against a great defense that poses a lot of challenges for an offense. And I'm proud of them. I'm proud of the way they protected. Obviously, run game wise, we could do some things better from all different levels standpoint. But I think it's a true testament to those guys, the coaching they get, the type of attitude that they have, and what they're willing to do for each other. It makes a really special group.
Now, what did you see on that missed throw from Josh to Isaiah in the end zone? Was he impacted by the injured hand, do you think? Did you see any deflection at the line of scrimmage? What happened on that play that led to him missing that throw?
No, yeah, I think it just happened. It popped out on him quick. It popped on him quick, and just getting our feet set and in right position to make the throw. And if we're not, being able to adjust with a little arc on the throw. So I think it's just one of those things where it happened so fast on him that he tried to get it out there to him quick, and the ball just kind of went down on him. So. It's something we're going to learn from. We're going to improve and get better from a technique standpoint, from a communication standpoint, and make sure that we're on top of those things when the game's on the line.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Coach Dorsey, Mookie Hawkins, Waffle Sports 1080. How you doing?
Hey, good. How you, Mookie?
I'm good, man. I love that passion out of you, Coach. I do. If anybody's going to tell you, I love the passion. But what did you learn in your first experience dealing with clock management for the first time?
Yeah, I thought the communication was very good. I thought we were in good shape for a lot of the game in terms of what our intent was at that time. At the end of the half, your intent is to get down to field goal range first and foremost. Then when you get down there, score a touchdown. So I think that was important for us. And then obviously the execution piece of it, and something we learned from the spike deal. I think that'll help us moving forward in the future. And then the second half, obviously the intent of going down and a field goal to win the game. And again, right there, it's part execution. It's part something that maybe I could do some things different looking back at it to help my guys out with the play call and getting the ball out and those types of things. So I thought the intent of what we were trying to get done was exactly what it needed to be. And then there's some things obviously that we're going to learn from. Look, we're all human. I'm human as we saw. I'm human. I'll make mistakes just like those guys. The key is, hey, how do we learn from those mistakes? How do we move on and make sure that we continue to progress and grow as a team?
Right, and that's leading up to my next question, Coach. And I don't know if the heat of the game probably played a role in it, but how do you really clean up the self-infliction down the stretch?
Yeah, I think that's things we're going to learn from. It's things that we stress an offense playing fast, playing physical, and playing disciplined ball. And I think we're able to do that a lot of the time. And just when it's not the standard that we set, we got to coach it, we got to point it out, and we got to emphasize it. And when it is, we celebrate it, and we make sure those guys know they're doing it right. So I think that's coaching. That's what you got to do as a coach. And I think our guys appreciate being coached. Our guys want to learn and improve and get better. And I think that's the important thing as a coach, that you celebrate the good, correct the where we can get better, so that you continue to grow.
Appreciate you, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yes. Good afternoon, Coach. George Radney, Challenger Community Newspaper. How you doing today?
All right. How you doing, George?
Pretty good. Question, just at that goal line, on the 4 downs at the goal line, when Devin Singletary got pushed by the offensive line and they pushed almost to the 1 yard line, was there any consideration of going with the package where you brought in the extra, made the tackle eligible as an extra tight end, almost blocker, and just go man to man and power football? Because those Dolphins had their hands on their hips. They looked quite tired. It reminded me of the Seattle Super Bowl game with the New England Patriots, where they decided to throw at the goal line instead of running the ball. Was there any consideration to running it?
No, yeah, I think there's a lot of things that go through your head in that moment, and honestly, we were running a similar concept as we did before. We were just trying to give it a different look, and it just it's one of those things where it didn't work out our way, but it's something I'm going to learn from, and definitely I think there's some ideas that we've got moving forward that are going to help us in that situation to allow those guys just to get push and generate some movement and let any of our backs that we feel great about in those situations, and I think the biggest key for us and for any team is, hey, having options down there. We feel like we've got great options, whether it's the line creating movement, the back end in there, whether it's Josh on the move, whether it's our receivers one-on-one. I think we've got some good options, and it's just, it's picking the best one and rolling with it and trusting those guys to do it.
All right, because you still have the I formation, right, where you could have the fullback Gilliam and revert back to his fullback and run an I and the old school football.
We got it all. Oh yeah, we got it all.
That's still in the book.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's just situation of the game sometimes. Situation of the game, the way the game's going, the personnel that you have out there is going to dictate some of that stuff. And at that moment, I felt like that was the best decision for us to make. In moving forward, it might be the same decision based off of what we got going on. But again, it might be something different next time based on the flow of the game and the situation.
All right, and one last question for you. On the right before halftime, when it was a bad snap and Josh Allen had fumbled, kind of bobbled the ball, and then he threw. Even though, because I've seen Tom Brady drop the ball, pick it up, and then throw it right back into the ground. You can still do that, correct? You can still strike it after fumbling, correct?
That's something we learned from. It's something we learned from that We feel like that if you do bobble the snap, you can then, go ahead and clock it still. There was the thing that happened with somebody earlier in the year that we learned from, where, they go to throw, they're clocking it, but they go to throw a quick out and then he clocks it, again late, and could have been intentional ground, could have not. So that's, I think, kind of what was going through our head, but it's something that we're going to learn from, and I think make sure that, something like that doesn't happen again.
All right, thank you, Coach. Good luck this coming week.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Hi, Coach. Sal from WGR. Good to see you.
Hey,
Thanks for
Sal.
the time.
No, thank you.
I want to go back to that goal line sequence as well.
Mhm.
How much did having a third string center who's normally not a center, he's a guard in the game, impact your ability to go under center and limit your play calling?
Like at the end of the day, whoever's in there, I've got a lot of faith in them. I've got a lot of trust in them. I mean, all those guys, at the time, I just felt like being in the gun under that situation was going to be our best move. From Josh's comfort standpoint to the center's comfort standpoint, whether we were gun or under, at the time, wasn't really going to affect me too much. I feel like I just felt like we're having some success with that concept, and I wanted to come back to it and give it a little different look.
And considering the injuries as you go, a guy like Jake goes down, other people as well. How much did that kind of impact like what you were thinking as far as personnel usage? You got special teamers that, now guys that to be used on special teams. What was that like kind of going through that process with both, Sean and Leslie, as well as Matthew Smiley as well, and who's available to you and what you can do?
Yeah. I mean, obviously there was a big, adjustment before the game in terms of getting our personnel to where we wanted to. And then in the course of the game, we really had to adjust a lot, obviously losing Jake. And then just the way the game was going with those guys going 90 plays and the way we were throwing the ball. So we really tried to mix up the personnel a good amount so that we could give guys breathers where we can, whether it was, some of the 21 personnel, some 12 personnel, some 2 running backs in the game stuff. So we really tried to do some things as adjustments in the game to try to keep our guys as fresh as possible. Because when you look at, those receivers did an unbelievable job from start to finish, playing extremely fast, giving everything they got on every single play. A lot of that's just inner desire, their willingness to do it and compete. And then hopefully some of that was us rotating guys, mixing some personnels to make sure it wasn't always 3 receivers on the field and you only had 1 sub.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep. Thank you.
Hi, Ken, it's Jay with the Buffalo News. You talked a lot about that goal line sequence, but if you expanded out a little bit beyond that, the last couple of games in short yardage, 1 or 2 yards needed to either gain a first down or a touchdown. You guys have, I think, converted 13 of them. Just wondering what your thoughts are on that success rate. You've thrown it twice as much as you've run it in those situations. Maybe some of the reasoning behind that, and just where you see maybe some of the deficiencies right now in short yardage.
Yeah, Jay, I think, at the end of the day, whether you throw it or run it kind of goes, part into the scheme you're playing, how you feel like that what they're doing allows you to, hit it straight forward, or if they give you opportunities on the outside or not, for example, that the Rams game, we were able to hit a successful play to Gabe there in a short yardage situation, because those can become big plays for you potentially as well. So there's some risk reward there. I think part of our philosophy is playing smart, not conservative football. So we try to be, smart and calculated with what we do. At the same time, we don't, while not being conservative. So we're always going to game plan to have both options at our availability. And the biggest thing is we just got to make sure we're figuring out the best way we feel like to convert on those things to keep drives alive.
And if I could go back to the video, there's been a lot of reaction on that. Some positive saying that they love the passion, some negative, calling it quite frankly embarrassing. Sean said that, he liked the passion, but that he wants to see his coaches demonstrate poise. He said he had that conversation with you. Now that you're 24 hours removed, I guess, and probably have cooled down from the heat of the moment, just what are your, I guess, maybe thoughts and takeaways on that entire situation?
Yeah, obviously it's a passionate game. There's a lot of passion involved. It's you've got a burning desire and will to win for your team and put your guys in the best position. And it's something I'm going to learn from. And it's something that I'm definitely going to remember moving forward and make sure that, it's something I learned from. And there's, not something that's going to happen.
Thanks, Ken.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Ken, for taking this time. That's Mark Gahn from the Buffalo News. Did you feel like the Dolphins pretty much sent the kitchen sink at you? I mean, just in terms of pressures, simulated pressures, corners joining a four-man rush, and how did you feel? I mean, it seemed like Josh handled it pretty well. What did you think of Josh's handling of all their pressures?
I do think Josh handled it well. I thought he did a really good job just staying poised, seeing the field, understanding where his issues were and where he was protected, and made a lot of good plays for us. And then our protection, I felt like did a good job in handling a lot of that stuff. So obviously those guys pose a ton of problems. They do some really good things schematically, and I felt like our coaches did a really good job preparing our guys to put them in position to succeed. And I thought those guys went out and executed on a lot of tough looks.
And then as a follow-up, Devin's receiving game and his blitz pickup through 3 weeks. Obviously, he caught a lot of passes, and was just what do you want to say about him in the receiving game?
Yeah, I thought Devin did a great job. I thought he did he really did, not only as a receiver but in protection, picking up pressures. Being physical and smart as a runner. And then obviously, in the receiving game, he did a really good job getting out, making plays in space, breaking some tackles and getting some explosive plays just on outlet throws.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Ken, when you talk about the incident that happened in the coaching booth yesterday and kind of learning from it and growing from it, when you're the coach, you're the guy that's been doing it for 20, 30 years. You're the expert when it comes to you and the players. But with something like this, these guys have grown up in an internet era, kind of understand the idea of being everywhere in terms of memes and GIFs, and it's a talking point around the league. Does it change the dynamic of trying to learn when you've got a situation where maybe the guys you're coaching have almost as much experience, if not maybe more so, about how to handle that, how to understand what it's like to be a part of that going forward?
I think no matter what the situation is, there's things to learn from, and I definitely think that's one, not only for me, but for all of our guys. And whenever things like that happen, they're good teaching moments for everybody involved, including myself, and moving forward and grow from it and continue to, we're human, and that's what happens. And so I think no matter who you are and what level of experience you have, there's always going to be things you can learn from.
Thanks, Ken. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
That's all we have time for today. Thanks, Ken.
Okay. Thank you, guys.